Hey, this is JC and welcome to Small Brick City, where we want to help you build a Lego city regardless of the space you have. Welcome to part 3 of renovating a Lego MOC from start to finish. And this is my modular Lego medical center. In the previous 2 videos, we began the renovations of taking out the staircase, which was the linkway between the first and the second floor, and I switched in an elevator. But a lot of internal changes had to be made in terms of the internal layout and just building in the entire elevator shaft. So it's not as simple as it seemed. In part 3, what I'm going to do is to do some refinements of the inside because it's still not perfect in terms of the spacing and the sizing, but we're almost there. Before I begin, I'd just like to highlight certain changes I made after I made video 2. So basically these are offline changes that I made to improve the build. So the first thing I did was to shift the sign so that it is directly in front of these dark gray masonry bricks. Originally the one stud to the left from your perspective, so it makes much more sense for this to be backed by these dark gray masonry bricks. And I also adjusted these lights so that they flank the sign on either side, so that's more balanced out. And I believe I also shifted these two slightly as well. Another slightly major change I did was to move the windows over here and the Angel of Mercy statue by 2 studs to the right from your perspective. And the reason is, in the renovation process, I actually created this sliding door and I created this protruding entranceway. And the reason for the sliding door was to create space for the wheelchair to go through and to go in directly to the elevator over here. Now, because I did that, it off-centered the main entrance, and the center of the main entrance would be this logo over here. It offset it to the right by 2 studs. Therefore, to make it look balanced, I had to move the center windows as well as the statue off to the side by 2 studs as well. So now you can see everything is in line, so it's really balanced, even though everything may be off-center by 2 studs. But that still works in my opinion, and it is necessary simply because of the internal spacing required for the different rooms inside. But overall, I think this works very well. For the back, nothing much has changed, but I'd just like to highlight that subscriber Michael Gleffe, or maybe it's Michael Gleff, he suggested an interesting concept for the back handle over here. He suggested that I would build it in such a way that there are bricks, so that imagine this slot is covered. And this is the handle for the elevator. So if you're to move the elevator up, this entire block would go up with it. And the idea is to obscure this slot from view. So I thought about it and I tried it out, but it doesn't really work for this build, mainly because of the heights of the build, as well as the different levels, as well as just the depth of this back lot I have over here, this back sidewalk. The reason is if I had to build this up, it would look a bit blocky, take up too much space, and just look out of proportion. And since I didn't design that in mind for this build, it just doesn't work as a shoe-in replacement now. So I've decided not to do it for this build, but it's a great concept, and thanks for the suggestion, Michael. So this is going to be part 3. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a quicker video because I'm just going to focus on the refinements of the elevator, and let me just show you what I'm trying to do. Let me take off the roof so that you can see down into the 2nd floor. As you can see, that is the elevator shaft for the elevator to come up. This small room is going to be a medical lab. Now, here's the feedback that I got from certain subscribers, and I do agree with them. A shout out to John G, Adrian Langley, and Excalibur Builders, who basically touched on the same thing and offered various solutions. So this is the elevator that I built, and the reason I decided to build it this way is I wanted some kind of ramp so that the wheelchair can go up. However, it does result in this being quite bulky in relation to the depth of this particular building. And if you look up here, what happens is that shaft has to be pretty big, and the resulting landing in the front over on this side here is very small. And that's why I made the joke in the previous video of the elevator smashing into the wall. And I agree, it's not ideal. So different people mentioned different possible solutions, and one was to remove the ramp altogether because it tends to be oversized within the context of this build. I think that is a solution, and I'm gonna try that, and that will also mean that it will be less bulky, so it might work. However, we still need safety devices so that people don't fall down the stairwell and die, or the elevator shaft and die. And also for the front, what's the door going to be? I didn't want to build another door simply because you can't build another door because the wheelchair cannot fit through a door frame, which is why I built the sliding door in the first place. So I've thought about it, and I've got one main solution which I think will solve everything. First, I will rebuild this. I will take out the ramp altogether, and I'll see if I can do away with a ramp, because it's only going to be one plate or one tile high. This, I think, will be reasonable for a wheelchair just to be pushed in. Or I may try to build some kind of slope or ramp into the floor of each story of the medical center. What this does is it will reduce the depth of the shaft needed. So that means currently I believe it's about 7 studs wide. That's the hole over here. I can reduce it to 6. So now I've at least a 4 stud landing. And I do need some safety feature. So I'm going to use these flag parts to be like some kind of a safety door that's hinged to the wall that you actually have to open and close in order for you to walk into the elevator. So you can't really accidentally walk into the elevator shaft. So that's the plan. The first thing I'm going to do is to add a plate here to make the shaft smaller, and then I'm going to redo this elevator, and then I will figure out how to put this in as well. So let's get started. So this has actually worked out quite nicely. Let me see if I can show you what I did. I put in a modified brick with a peg. This allows me to place that flag part which acts as a safety barrier for the elevator shaft. Now I know it doesn't go all the way, but I think it's okay. I guess I could add in, another plate behind just to extend this, so it'll be double barreled, so to speak. Yep, that will work. I'll do that. But what I'm really happy with, I've managed to put in these curved tiles directly into the floor, so you can see a wheelchair can now just go in all the way, slide right up, and this can be brought up to the next floor. And I've changed the elevator, made it just so simple. It just 2 plates, basically 1 plate and a tile, so it's really thin. So that is a much better solution. And if we look at this second floor here, I've actually made it smaller by 2 studs. I've added a 2x4 plate here, and this can still fit in once we place it in, and it's guided by the sides and this peg. I think it actually can go through. So you see, that fits very well, and that can stop level with the second floor. I don't even need a ramp there. So what I do need to do is to build in another modified brick and a peg to put the flag for the second floor, build this up, and I think we might have solved the elevator issue. So this is to give you a clear look at how this flag piece is placed. Now I had to remove the additional tile because when I put it in, there's no way to open this up completely, because in this idea, when the wheelchair comes out, this swings open all the way and you can have the wheelchair go in and out. But in this case, if I were to make it 4 studs long, it would not open all the way. Now this creates that 1 stud gap there, but I think it's okay. I don't think mini figs can actually fall in, and because there's also 1 more recess over here, as in there's 1 more stud, so it's not a direct drop. So I'm going to leave this as it is. I think this works. I will build this up, but I think before I build this up, maybe I'll just take the opportunity to tile this area over here and see if I want to add in anything. I really don't think there's space to add in anything. I couldn't even add in a water cooler or anything like that, because we need the space for the wheelchair and for minifigs to pass through. So I'm just going to tile this area with gray tiles, and then I'll build this back. So here we have the tiling done. What I did was to replicate the ramp at the bottom, which is black and yellow, so I just used tiles over here to replicate the same, so there's some consistency between the two levels. So that works out pretty well. Let's build all this up and put everything back together. So that was simple enough. Let's see if we can have a look at the elevator, and let's turn this here and let's see if we can bring this up. You can see the elevator coming up, and that works out really nicely, and there's enough space for the wheelchair to go in and out. Let's give that a shot. Now, in the logistics for this particular medical center, because it's so small, only the wheelchair goes into the elevator and an orderly will bring it up and will be waiting on either floor. So an orderly will push it in here, close this up, and we assume that's all automated, and the wheelchair can be brought down, and the wheelchair has fallen off the elevator and we've successfully killed the patient. So this doesn't seem all too ideal. However, I can install something on the floor of the elevator that kind of catches the wheel here, so that doesn't happen, because you probably couldn't see what happened, but basically as the elevator is going down, the wheelchair rode off it and he fell to his death, which isn't very good. But if he didn't die, at least he's in a medical center. So let me add something to the elevator just to give it a bit more safety. This is what I've come up with. Basically, I've placed a right angle panel piece, and it works pretty well. Originally, I came up with this clip and bar, but it doesn't work because the bar is round and the wheels of the wheelchair just rolled over it. So still a very dangerous design. But this, you can just imagine the wheelchair goes here and it's locked in place. And you can see it doesn't roll back even like that. So that's pretty good. So you can just imagine the context of this elevator. It's pretty special in the sense that maybe after the wheelchair comes in, there's a sensor which flaps up this particular piece. And that works. The reason I've placed this plate here is so that we can put a minifig in as well if the minifig wants to use the elevator without the wheelchair. So I think that works pretty well. We can put this down and you can see how it looks like on the first floor. And in this case, we do have that nice big door. Or as you can see, this door here doesn't, I just realized when I swing it, it also hits this, which isn't ideal. You know what? I'm just going to pop this out and I'm going to just keep it the 2x3 flag just like that. Let's not get fancy. There will be that small gap, but it's okay. No minifigs can get in. Maybe a dog, a cat, or a rat. But so be it then. So that's how that will work. So now this can also open up all the way like that so that the wheelchair can get in. We will block the doors to the toilet as well as this room over here, which is going to be the x-ray room, but that's fine. It's just for the wheelchair to get in, or just for a person to get into the elevator, and that basically comes up here. So that's really neat, and I'm really happy with that. I hope you enjoyed this part 3 video of renovating a MOC from start to finish. I'm very happy we've solved this elevator issue. I think the design is elegant now. We've got lots of space for the wheelchair to go in from the main door, as well as to access it from the second floor as well. So in part 4, which will be the final video of this entire process, I'll be doing all the tiling and the detailing of this particular MOC. Now, I have already pre-built most of the builds from the previous version of this MOC, so it's really just figuring out the exact positions and redoing the tiling. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to track the progress of this particular MOC, do hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching. Check out these 2 videos before you go.